My name is Mali. I am your hostess for this morning, and I'd like to welcome you to the inaugural SANEDI Energy Breakfast. And I think most of you are probably asking, a few of you might be asking who is SANEDI, and most of you are asking why a breakfast. So in broad strokes, SANEDI is an agency of the Department of Energy. So it's one of the state-owned entities which fall under the Department of Energy. And we're mostly tasked to assist the country to transition to a low carbon future. So the work that we do basically revolves around facilitating the deployment of clean energy solutions into the South African market. And how we do it, we work in collaboration with universities, industry, communities, international partners to introduce new technologies and also deploy some technologies that are reliable, environmentally friendly, sustainable, and affordable. So why the breakfast? I think it has been apparent to all of us that South Africa is facing an uncertain energy future. Energy is becoming quite, the way we know energy supply in South Africa is becoming quite a challenge. So we need, as South Africans, and specifically the mining industry is going to be actually very negatively affected by these energy supply challenges. So we need to explore alternative energy supply options. So basically this breakfast is for us to talk about the options, the alternative energy options that are there, and what is stopping us from actually having them in our, specifically the mining environment. What are the barriers, what are the challenges, and how can we lower those barriers and work together in actually having these alternatives being deployed in the different sectors. So that's basically about this. This is a conversation that we're going to be having, and to try to find solutions together as an industry and also as SANEDI, how we can best get the deployment of these alternatives. And I just recently, I think the Minister of Minerals and Resources, twice in this past week, actually has said that the coal industry has to invest in new clean coal technologies for it to be sustainable and survive. And also he spoke about the mining industry also has to invest in alternative energy for the mining industry to survive. So I think right now it's time for us to have that conversation and to see how best that we can do this as a community. So this morning, one of the things that we try to do is to introduce two of our programs, SANEDI programs to you. One is actually about clean coal, and the other one is about energy efficiency, which is very important. I think most of the big companies have benefited using that program. And then after that, we will have remarks by the minister, who unfortunately could not be here today, and he sends his apologies because there is an urgent cabinet meeting this morning, about to start now at 8 o'clock. But the DDG, acting DDG for clean energy, will be reading the minister's opening remarks. And after that, we will have a facilitated panel, which will be facilitated by the interim chair of the SANEDI board. And then after the panel discussion, we'll have open question and answer, and we will close. So ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Mr. Barry Bedenkamp, who will talk briefly about the 12L tax incentive program that we currently running.
Thank you, Program Director Dr. Mali, Chairman of the SANEDI Board, Ms. Modisi, Acting Deputy Director General in absentia, she's in the parking. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, Thank you very much for this opportunity. As the Program Director said, my name is Barry Bredenkamp. I'm responsible for energy efficiency at the South African National Energy Development Institute, otherwise known as SANEDI, which is an agency of the Department of Energy. And just the idea is this morning to rather spend more time on debate with the panel, so just going to give you a short overview of the energy efficiency work we're involved in, primarily the work involved in the Section 12L tax incentives, where the mining sector is benefiting tremendously. And that's one of the reasons why we're talking about this on the sidelines of the mining indaba. As the Program Director said, the Honourable Minister Bantash of Mineral Resources yesterday said for the mining sector to survive, we need stable supply of electricity, we need quality of supply, we need affordable prices. Now, one of the reasons, or one of the ways that we can achieve that is to become more efficient in the way we use energy. If you look at South Africa's energy per GDP growth compared to other countries in the world, we're still pretty inefficient. We've still got a long way to be efficient. I think if we talk about the mining sector, they've done a lot to become more efficient and are probably more at the forefront of developments in terms of energy efficiency. But having said that, the International Energy Agency released their State of Energy Efficiency report, the global report, in November last year. It was well covered in the media. And a number of things came out of that report. First of all, they said energy efficiency still remains the first fuel before we start looking at other parts of the energy mix like nuclear, hydro, etc. So energy efficiency remains the first fuel. You do energy efficiency before you consider making investments in new capital expansion for building power stations. If you can reduce your consumption, avoid capital infrastructure, you're going to be able to keep the prices down. Pretty straightforward. Second thing they said, energy efficiency, as we know it, has changed forever. We are now entering into a new phase of digitalization, and then we have all these buzzwords like the fourth industrial revolution, disruptive technologies, and so forth. Digitalization is creating a whole new ballgame in terms of how we approach energy efficiency. We used to always talk about energy efficiency at the end use. We would talk about end use technologies like compressors, motors, pumps. No longer is that the case. We don't talk about end-use technologies because with the interactivity and the connectivity of technologies now, especially in an environment in the mining sector where safety and health and security are of utmost importance, you can have your technologies, for example, a simple thing like an LED light bulb acting as your base station for communication with your security systems, etc. So we now need to talk about energy technology systems as opposed to end-use technologies. And that is the way energy efficiency is going. And that's creating a whole new environment in which we can explore avenues to improve energy efficiency. If you need to install renewable energy, once again, you first become efficient, reduce the consumption, then you can downscale the size and the specification of the renewable energy infrastructure you need to invest in. So energy efficiency remains at the forefront, yes. 2008, we remember very clearly when we had load shedding in South Africa, we all became very energy efficient. Cape Town had the water crisis last year. Everyone became water efficient, and I see the hotel we stayed in is still very much in a mode of saving water. They still have all the banners in the lifts, messaging in the rooms, no plugs in the baths. So it can be done. We can become energy efficient. We don't have to wait for the next crisis to become energy efficient, because right now, and that's what's bringing me to the crux of my short discussion, is that to become energy efficient, the government of South Africa has introduced already in 2013 a series of energy efficiency tax incentives. Industrial manufacturing, we have the 12I tax incentives. On the renewable energies, we have the 12B tax incentives. And on energy efficiency, we have the Section 12L tax incentives. We administer that on behalf of SARS, the National Treasury, and the Department of Energy. And to date, from the October 2013 inception up until today, we have processed in excess of 200 applications, and that has equated to a rebate value to the tune of 12 billion rand that we've processed. That's 12 billion rand reinvested back into the industry by becoming energy efficient. Not only do they get the rebate in terms of becoming more efficient and getting a tax claim, they also are reducing their energy consumption, and that in itself is saving money. So it's a double whammy. It's a win-win situation. On the screen here, I've just tried to give it a picture of the 12L applications that we've got across the country. It shows that we have a widespread geographic spread of the tax incentives. This is not a tax incentive just for a couple of people in and around Gauteng, which is the economic hub of the country. If you look even as far as the Northern Cape province, where we normally see very little activity, you can see on this slide, we've got 22 applications in the Northern Cape. Yes, we do have a high concentration around Gauteng, but we have applications for the 12L tax incentive in each and every province of this country. Approximately 50% of those applications have emanated from the mining industry across the sector: gold mining, coal mining, platinum mining, and all the other sectors. In the mining sector specifically, and what's really beneficial from the 12L tax incentive is not an electricity tax incentive. You don't have to reduce your electricity consumption. It's an energy efficiency tax incentive, with the emphasis being on the word energy. So if you are in a mining application where you're improving in an open cast mine, improving haulage, for example, and your haulage equipment, and you're saving diesel and you're converting diesel to a more efficient technology, you can claim the 12L tax incentive for that as well. It's across all energy carriers. It's not only specifically for electricity. And therein lies the secret, that every application within the mining sector or in industry or commerce, we even have applications from the aviation industry where they've optimized airline routes and improved fleets, made the fleets more efficient, and done various other interventions to make the airlines more efficient. We've even had applications in that area. So across the spectrum, but for the purposes of this meeting, 50% of these applications, 50% of the 12 billion rand that we've processed, 50% of the 200 plus applications have come from the mining sector, and we do believe that that has contributed to the mining sector becoming more sustainable and being able to continue business in a country like South Africa. So the tax incentives are but one instrument to help us drive towards a low carbon economy. There are many others, and the idea today is to debate those solutions in terms of looking forward to a sustainable, low carbon and efficient mining sector going forward. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Barry. I don't know, I mean, it has been said that SASOL as an organization has become so energy efficient such that energy efficiency now is no longer even an indicator, because it's just what they do. It has become part of their operation, and they're one of the companies that have actually gained a lot in the 12L incentive program. I see that Dr. Sarich has just walked in. So, Tony, I don't know if I'll let you catch your breath, but you're on.
So, first of all, good morning, everybody. I wanted to talk about carbon capture and storage and the work that SANEDI is doing in this regard. First of all, what is carbon capture and storage? We're all aware that carbon dioxide being emitted into the atmosphere is one of the major factors in global climate change. So what we're trying to do is to minimize that emissions of carbon dioxide. So what we do is, instead of letting it go into the atmosphere, you capture it. It's about 15% of the emissions coming out, say, of an ESCOM chimney is carbon dioxide. So what we do is we capture that. So we have about 98% pure carbon dioxide. Then you take that carbon dioxide and transport it, usually by pipeline, and then it goes into a geological storage. An appropriate geological storage is exactly the same, for example, as a gas field. Gas has been down there for hundreds of millions of years, held down there by cap rock, and then we go and drill it and utilize it. So usually we're storing carbon dioxide in an appropriate geological formation, usually 1 to 2 kilometers deep. So there's a disconnect between where it's being stored and the surface. Now, we all know that South Africa is a coal-based energy economy. About 92% of our primary energy comes from fossil fuels, and about 75% is coming from coal. Around about probably 80% of our electricity is being generated from coal. And we're building 2 new power stations, Medupi and Kusile. They are supercritical, so they're becoming super efficient. The integrated resource plan is also looking at where one can generate electricity. And although coal is going to be decreasing from its present about 80% to about 46%, I think around about in the integrated energy plan, integrated resource plan, there's going to be an increase in coal-fired generation according to that plan. So we're looking at carbon capture and storage as a transition measure, as we can move away from coal into renewable energies and maybe in the future, if I'm allowed to say, nuclear. It's and the government has been looking at carbon capture and storage. I think the major components there are going to be carbon capture and storage is one of the flagship programs of the of the climate change response white paper. And also Cabinet during March 2013 also endorsed the roadmap. And within, to look at institutional capacity, we started off from a zero base in about 2002. And this is what we're looking at, as I said, as a transition measure to go from our 3 energy fuels that we have at the moment, which is fossils, renewable, and nuclear, into a renewable and a nuclear future. This is the mandate I was talking about, and showing that the reasons why we're doing this. On the roadmap, which was endorsed by Cabinet in 2013, we're looking at, over here, in 2004, the Department then of Minerals and Energy released a report which was done by the CSIR to say, what is the technical possibilities? Is there potential in South Africa? The answer was yes. In 2010, Minister Sonjika launched the Atlas, which tells whereabouts in South Africa we can store carbon dioxide geological formation. We are now in the 3rd stage, the 3rd phase of the pilot storage project. What the purpose of the pilot storage project is to look at, can South African rocks store carbon dioxide safely, and also to build capacity for, it's a complicated, and we're effectively starting a new industry. So that's going to be small, tens of thousands of tons, between 10 and 50,000 tons overall. Now this is a project which is in partnership with our ATIA in KwaZulu-Natal, and is now being closely monitored and driven by the Department of Energy. At the same time, we're looking with some World Bank support to possibly putting in a pilot capture plant. We need to capture the carbon dioxide before we can put it into the geological formation. And did you realize South Africa has the largest carbon dioxide capture plant in the world, courtesy of Sasol. At Secunda, they're capturing around about 25 million tons of carbon dioxide per year. Then the next phase is to look at a demonstration, integrated demonstration plant, and then to go on to commercial operation. So I think this is just a summary slide now to show, to summarize what I've been talking about. What is carbon capture and storage? Coal will be continued to be used for some time. We're doing a lot in terms of energy efficiency. We're doing a lot in terms of renewable energies. But coal will be with us for quite a while. Moreover, to generate electricity, there's options. You can go to nuclear. We have one nuclear power station. You can go to renewables and perhaps even biomass. However, there are some industries that cannot and don't have that option. For example, the cement industry, the iron and steel industry, they cannot change. They still want to produce carbon dioxide. 1 ton of cement, 1 ton of carbon dioxide. And CCS, carbon capture and storage, is really the only option that they have. The technology I've talked about now is the carbon dioxide is captured before it goes into the atmosphere, then is stored in some deep geological formation. The progress we've made so far, we have the Atlas that released in 2010. We have been analyzing existing geological data, both the boreholes and the seismics down in the KZN area, because that was what the Atlas indicated was our best place to do the pilot project. And then we're expecting this year to go out into the field with some seismics and some drilling to try and characterize in more detail what the site is. It's very important we choose a correct site. With that, you can ensure that it's safe, it's stable, and it's going to stay down there. And we're also looking at a possible capture plant, and both the pilot project, the pilot storage project, and the carbon dioxide capture project are being supported in part by the World Bank. They've given us a grant in order to carry out these work. I think, Madam Chairman, I think that covers everything I had to say.
Thank you, Tony. And I think one more thing that probably Tony has probably just forgot to mention was that there's also, right now CCS has also moved to CCUS, because now we're not only looking to store the carbon, we're also looking ways of actually using carbon dioxide as a feedstock. So that's where the usage part of carbon dioxide is coming in. Globally, the work has actually started and lots of people are looking at CCUS. Here in South Africa, we're still at our initial stages to look at how best we can use the carbon dioxide and storing it at some point. As I had mentioned earlier that the minister could not be here with us this morning, and he does send his apologies. However, Ms. Mokhadi Modise is here to read out the minister's opening remarks, and she is the acting DDG for clean energy at the Department of Energy. So, Ms. Mokhadi, welcome to the floor.
Good morning, everyone. As I have already been introduced, I'm Mokhadi Modise, responsible for clean energy in the department. And as also being indicated that the minister could not be here, I'm here to deliver the speech on his behalf. The interim chairperson of the South African National Energy Development Institute, Mr. Nkululeko Buthelezi, members of the board of directors of SANEDI who are here, the interim chief executive officer, Dr. Thembakazi Mali, executives in both energy and mining sectors, members of the media, senior government officials who are here with us, captains of industry, good morning once more. It is a great pleasure to address you at this auspicious occasion on the sidelines of the mining Indaba held here in Cape Town. As I've already touched on, representing the principals who could not be here due to other pressing work. Basically, the minister had to attend an urgent cabinet meeting, and the DG as well had to go and support him. And the Minister has wished us good deliberations and is looking forward to receiving the outcome of this event with proposals. It is necessary that we often have this kind of discussions, especially in light of the energy needs that affect us in one way or the other, be it in our homes, work environment, industrial operations, and public spaces. South Africa's economy is energy intensive, and with the mining sector being among the energy intensive user group, it has even become more necessary that we do not wait for platforms of this nature only to talk about pressing issues that affect our operations. We should be continuing to have robust debates that are followed by action or implementation as part of creating certainty for investments in the country. With the $100 billion US target that His Excellency, President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa has said, we have to do more as energy cuts across any type of investment we may think of at this present moment. It is in this context that we are approaching all stakeholders across the energy sector value chain who should play a role, and the mining sector is among those. Distinguished guests, on technology development and advancement, the South African Energy Development Institute deemed it fit that we, together with the Department of Energy, present possible collaborative partnerships in the energy efficiency and renewable energy space that can establish win-win cleaner technology solutions into the mining value chain after thorough consideration of the mining production processes, operations and maintenance, research and development, technology growth, development and advancement in contributing towards low carbon economy in short, medium and long terms.